Up all night I was, just as I could get a good spec. And then I seen them coming along Canning Place, a procession of thousands. Blue-coat schoolboys, Freemasons, sailors of course, would be, odd fellows, and I don't mean your local councillors. All there they were, come to pay homage. Finally, in a carriage befit his exalted status, the Prince Consort, little Albert himself, Foundation Stone. The way he handled that ceremonial trowel, it was a wonder, a wonder. Such a sensitive, cultured, civilised, peace-loving race of people, the Germans. A memento for future generations. And then it was all over. The band struck up. The procession wended its way. And the prince's coach trundled off. And it was over. Just like a dream.
Read all about it! Read all about it! Even Chronicle! Sailors are walking at skates for the very first time. Read all about it! Sailors home, opposite skates. Read all about it! Read all about it! Even Chronicle! Girl, girl! Read all about it! Girl! Girl!
It's been a long campaign. We're right here on the site of the Sailors' Home. We're opening the gates again and people will see them in all their glory. The refuge for sailors that was built in Liverpool and the foundation stone being laid by Prince Albert himself. There are going to be many thanks. I think it is very good of you all to join Gabriel Muse for this celebration this morning. But first of all, I want to introduce Paul Duckworth, who's going to read a part from the novel by Herman Melville, Redburn. One of his lesser known novels, but better known for writing Moby Dick, of course. But Paul Duckworth is going to read Herman Melville's description of Liverpool.
Of all the seaports in the world, Liverpool perhaps most abounds in all the variety of land sharks, land rats, and other vermin which make the hapless mariner their prey. In the shape of landlords, barkeepers, clothiers, crimps, and other boarding house lounges, the land sharks devour him, limb by limb, while the land rats and mice constantly nibble at his purse. Other perils he runs, also far worse, from the denizens of notorious Corinthian haunts within the vicinity of the docks, which in depravity are not to be matched by anything this side of the pit that is bottomless. And yet, sailors love this Liverpool, and upon long voyages to distant parts of the globe will be continually dilating upon its charms and attractions, and extolling it above all other seaports in the world. For in Liverpool, they find their paradise, and not the well-known street of that name. And one of them did tell me he would be content to lie in Prince's Dock until he hove up anchor for the world to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I now want to introduce you to the leader of the council, without whose support this would never have happened this morning. So can I introduce Joe Anderson to make his contribution to this morning's proceedings? Thank you.
When the Labour Party was in opposition in the city, every time we had a council meeting in the town hall, Gabriel Muse, who's standing at the back, would, as soon as I walked into the council chamber, would actually hound me and pester me about bringing back the gates. And I made him a promise. I said, when we're elected, I'll do everything I possibly can to bring the gates back to its home city where they belong. And I was glad to say that with the support of all of the council, we were able to do that. For me, the gates symbolise the Merchant Navy, and if we look at this magnificent estate, the Grosvenor estate, and we look at the city and its prosperity and what it's done over the years, undoubtedly we have to recognise the contribution made by merchant seamen and the Merchant Navy that's brought this port to the fantastic world-renowned place that it actually is. And there's not many people in this city who can't relate to a family member, an uncle, a brother, a father, a sister who went away to sea. We always remember on Merchant Navy Day the contribution that the merchant seamen paid in losing their life during the conflicts that we've been in as a country, and rightly so. But these gates, I think, symbolise the contribution that merchant seamen have made over many, many years to bring prosperity to this city. As a young man, my father went away to sea, my two brothers went away to sea, and I followed them in that tradition and went away to sea, only for a short period, 13 years. But I grew up like most seamen's relatives, with a parrot, a budgie, a guitar, some slang and some language that we'd never heard of before. So I'm proud of my heritage and my roots and my connection to the Merchant Navy. I just want to make a couple of thank yous. Without their efforts and support, we wouldn't have had these magnificent gates back here where they rightly belong after an absence of 60 years. As I've mentioned, Gabriel Muse for his tireless campaign and badgering of me. I thank you, Gabriel, for your support and your insistence that these gates come back. Phil Griffiths for setting up the Pooley Gates online petition. Thanks, Phil. Stephen Mackay for maintaining the profile of the Sailors' Home since at least the mid 2004, around about that time. The Mersey Heritage Trust for the performance that they've put on today. As I said, City Council officers who've worked alongside me, Malcolm Kennedy, the head of Regeneration, Nick Kavanagh, 2020 Liverpool, all those that have supported the campaign to bring the gates back. Bar and Grosvenor for the restoration work, SD Construction and Enterprise Liverpool for building the plinth that the gates are sitting on, and Liverpool One for allowing the gateway to be installed on their land. a lasting testimony, as I said, to the contribution of merchant seamen from previous generations. But the fact of the matter is that the gates don't just symbolise that. The number of merchant seamen that came from foreign lands and foreign countries that don't, you know, stayed here on occasions, but a lot of them that just stopped and changed ships here or were paid off here in Liverpool often stayed in the sailors' home, and without them, as I said, this city wouldn't be what it is today. So I thank all of the old salts that have turned up today to look at the gates. I hope they do you proud. I hope it's something that the city of Liverpool look on with fondness and kindness, and remembering the merchant seamen for all that they've contributed. We're just going to unveil the gates now, but the honour of that was given to the Lord Mayor and myself and Stephen Brooks and the High Sheriff. But can I ask that Gabriel Muse and Phil Griffiths join us up on the stage, please? So we're now going to proceed with unveiling the gates.
Ladies and gentlemen, absolutely magnificent, aren't they? Absolutely fantastic. Thousands, if not millions of people are going to walk past them and remember all the sailors that stayed at the sailors' home. Now, for invited guests, because the Salt House won't take everybody, for invited guests with the invitation, you are invited to retire for some grog and hardtack biscuits in the Salt House tapas and further marine entertainment. So thank you once more for your attendance, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the gates.